Hi, it's Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company, and this is Sunday from the Sewing Room. The past few weeks I've been showing you different things to make with your scraps, and I want to keep going with that kind of series that we have going on. So today I want to show you how to make this cute little zipper pouch. And it has a zipper in it, and I made this completely with scraps. These are leftover 2.5-inch strips from another quilt. And this is leftover fabric on the inside from the back of the quilt. So let me show you how to get started and do this. For this particular size, I used a 10-inch by 22-inch piece of fabric for my inside. And I used a 10-inch by 22-inch piece of fabric for my batting. So as you can see, this is going to be the inside of the bag, and I just layered that on top, underneath a piece of batting. And this is going to be really, really simple. You're going to kind of quilt as you go. So the first thing that I did was I took the 2.5-inch strips that I had left over and I cut them in two. So now I have 22-inch pieces of each of those, 22 by 2.5. So I simply just lay the first piece down on all of the layers. And that's pretty simple. And then the next one, I would lay that right side up. The next one gets laid right side down so that it's right sides together directly on top of the first strip you laid down. And then you will simply sew a 1/4 inch all the way across, and then you will flip it open. And you're going to sew through all of those seams, and then you would lay the next strip down right sides together, sew 1/4 inch and flip that open until you get the whole piece covered. With this being 10 inches wide, you will only need 5 strips. So that was really, really easy. So let me show you what it looks like when it's all done. So it looks like this. So this was my first piece. I laid this one right side together on top of that, stitched and flipped. And you can see I also did a little bit extra stitching. If you want to do extra stitching, you can just do a 1/4 inch on each side of the seam. And let me show you what that looks like on the inside so you can see 2 pieces of stitching. So truth be told, you don't need 2.5-inch strips. You could also use 1 wide strip here and a strip on top and a strip on the bottom, or you could use an entirely whole piece of fabric and just do your own quilting. It doesn't really matter. So now I want to trim this up. So I will take my ruler and I will put this on the seam and make sure that I am cutting everything off so I have a nice even edge. So I'm going to trim up that side, and now that is trash. And then I'm going to flip this over and see how nice and neat that edge is. I'm going to turn this around, line this up, line a line up with the seam so that you know that you have a nice straight edge. And I am going to trim this side off, and then that is trash. So I have a little bit left over on this edge because it was 2.5-inch strips. So what I'm going to do so that I make sure that I'm dealing with 2 inches on each side is I'm going to also lay this ruler on the edge with my 2-inch mark, and I'm going to cut off that piece. And then I'm going to turn this around and do the same on the other side. So that I am perfectly lined up all the way around. Now, honestly, it doesn't really even matter which side is up and which side is down. It's always a personal preference. So, gotta cut it. All right, and let me get that out of your way. So now when I've got everything all trimmed up, I have one whole piece that measures about 20 3/4 inches. So I'm just going to make the 2 of the most even pieces I can. So that's going to be at 10 inches. So I'm going to cut this at 10 inches here. There's one 10-inch piece, and then I'm going to cut another one at 10 inches. And here is another 10-inch piece. So that is your entire bag. So, and that's going to be really cute. I think that I'm going to put the crabs and the buoys at the top, and I'm going to put the bicycles at the bottom, kind of like I did on this one. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is the zipper. And the zipper, honestly, is not that hard, so don't be afraid. So whatever size that you make your bag, you want to make your zipper 1 inch shorter. So at the shop, we have all of these beautiful colors of 14-inch zippers. And I picked something that was a total contrast, but it's still in this blue family, because I feel like the zipper is actually kind of part of the design. But we're going to make these little zipper tabs, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing that you're going to need is a scrap piece of fabric at least 1.5 inches wide. And what I did was I folded it in two and I pressed to give myself a center. And then I pressed the two raw edges to the center and so that it stayed nice and firm. And then I pressed it one more time like this. So you will get that nice zipper ends on there. So let me show you what to do with the zipper. So your zipper has two ends. It has this end with a staple, and it also has an end at the top with these stops. And what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of both of these. And we're going to make a beautiful zipper end just like on here. So it will become part of the design. So let me show you how to do that. I want you to grab scissors that you don't really care about, and I want you to cut, you know, you're not going to use your good cloths, your good fabric scissors on these, and I want you to just cut that zipper off and cut the staple off. No big deal. All right, so now we're going to lay that here, and my bag was 10 inches, so I have to allow for seams. So I'm going to cut this first. Let me first sew this together before I skipped ahead. So come with me to the sewing machine. And let me change out my foot quick. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that zipper and fold this tab right over the end of the zipper, just like that. And what you will have is this really nice covered bottom on your zipper. Now we're going to sew this, and I want to make sure that I catch not only top, but I want to catch underneath. So I'm not going to quite edge stitch it, just a little bit away. I would say 1/8 of an inch away. And I've just put that down, and you can sew right over the top of your zipper. So let me show you how that looks. And just a little bit more. And if you want to, you can go backwards over the same line to make sure that it's really, really, really secure. And there you have it. So now we have that zipper, the end of that zipper completely covered. And I'm just going to clip away those little threads because they just bug me. And then I am going to clip this off, and you don't just eyeball it even with the edge of your tape, just like this. And just like this. All right, now we have to open this up, and we want to make sure that this will now be 9 inches. Let me go this way. So I have laid this on the edge, and now I'm going to cut this off a little bit further here, and I'm going to cut this off at 9 inches. Remember, use these scissors that you don't necessarily care so much about, and you can just eyeball it, and now these ends of the zipper are now gone. So that's now waist. So you can use any size zipper that you have laying around. And we are going to do the very same thing with the very edge of this zipper. So this one's a little bit harder. You have to kind of hold this together, fold this over, and get that thread out of the way. And we're going to stick that right under your presser foot and make sure that's in there straight. I'm going to move this down here. It gives me a little more leeway. Okay. And I'm going to slide this under. And we're going to just sew that tab right on there too. And you're going to sew right across the teeth of your zipper. And then back up if you want it to be more secure. Just go right over the same stitch. And you're done. And now we will clip this off even with the zipper tape. Right there and right there. All right, now you have this cute zipper with the ends of the zipper tape enclosed. Now it's time to put it on your bag. So I'm going to change back again to my 1/4 inch foot. And this is so simple. So don't be afraid of zippers because they're not as hard as they look. So I'm going to take one piece of this bag, and I think that I want my bicycles down at the bottom. So I am going to take my zipper and I am going to lay it face down on the right side of my fabric, and I want it to be in between. So I'm just really eyeballing it. And I'm going to stitch that zipper tape down, and I'm going to use my 1/4 inch foot. That seems to work fine for me. So I'm going to start at the edge of my zipper tape. Now, when you get to the zipper pull, you want to be able to sew past there. So lift up your foot, leave your needle down, and move the zipper head back, or the zipper pull back. And then just keep sewing. And then you can literally just sew right off the edge. So I always like it to look a little neat and clean. So I'm going to fold this zipper back. I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to fold this zipper back. And then I'm going to edge stitch really close to that zipper so it gives it a nice finished look. So let me show you what that looks like. And I still have my 1/4 inch foot on there. Just as long as I get everything under there, it should be good. And let me just keep sewing so you can see what that finished edge looks like. It really gives it a more professional look if you do that. And then again, you got to get past your zipper head or your zipper pull. I keep calling it the zipper head. And you can sew right off the edge. And look how nice and finished that looks. And it holds that zipper really nicely in there. That looks really nice. So now I'm going to put the other side right on top of that zipper, face down, and turn it over. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. See how easy that is? It's really not hard at all to put in a zipper. And let me get that sewn down for you. Now, when you have the top on here, it gets a little bit harder to move that zipper pull, but I want you to lift that up and you kind of have to wrangle it. And see, I've moved that zipper pull past my foot so that I can sew all the way down to the edge. All right, and then we're all set. And let me show you how that looks. And now, look how nice that looks. And now let's quick top stitch that side. So I want to turn it this way, and I like my foot to go right along that edge where I can see it. And I am just going to top stitch that right across. And you can hear it's going through those layers because it's going through that batting. And oops, I drove onto my zipper tape, but it's still going to be nice and finished. And then you can just sew right off the edge. And see how simple and easy that went in? Okay, now you're ready, except for where I drove on my zipper tape. So now you're ready to put your bag together. It really is that simple. So this is very important. Before you sew your bag together, open up your zipper. Otherwise, you won't be able to turn your bag right side out. So what I'm doing here is let me pull this together. I want my edges to match, and I want my strips to match as much as possible. And if you want to, you can clip this to make sure that it stays. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to clip it all together so that it stays. I'm going to give it a clip here and a clip down here. All right, now we're ready to sew our bag together. And I still have my 1/4 inch foot in. So I like to go from the bottom to the top. And you can do it either way, but let me show you what that looks like. And I'm still using my 1/4 inch foot. And I'm just going to keep sewing through all of those layers. And right off the edge. And then I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do the very same thing on this side. And my clip. Oops, and then that turned over, so I'm going to stick that back under there and go right off the edge. All right. And there is my zippered pouch, except I got to sew the bottom. So we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam right across the bottom. Let me rethread my machine. All right, and here we go again. Sorry about that, folks, and here we go. So, gotta sew your bottom closed. Again, I'm just using a 1/4 inch foot. All right. Now, because your zipper is open, this is the fun part. You can turn it right side out. I like to use these zipper pouches for lots of things. I throw all of my cords in them when I'm traveling somewhere. It's really great to just keep all your cords in one spot. Or if you're going sewing at a friend's or to a retreat, you can keep all of your little clips like this in there. You can make these in all sizes, all shapes, and all you need is scraps. The other thing that you can do is, even if you have 2 extra quilt blocks that are the same, you can make this little zipper pouch with 2 quilt blocks. Now this one, I did not gusset, and this one is gusseted, but let me show you. So it has a little 1 inch flat bottom. Let me show you how to gusset this bag. So we'll take it apart, and I'll turn it right side back out. Okay, so once you have this, all you're going to do is push this down, and so that these 2 seams are lined up. See how those 2 seams are lined up on the outside? And then you have a little point. So I have a little stitch line right here, and that is what I'm going to use as my guide. So I'm just sticking this in my sewing machine. And can you see that? Is that better? And then I'm just going to sew right across there. I have to lift up my foot to get my... And if you want to, you can take a little back stitch. And then if you want to, you can clip this off. You don't have to. But now I have a cute little gusset along the bottom of my bag. So you can see that this side is ungusseted if you want a flat bag, or this side has a little gusset on it if you want your bag to stand up. So that's it. This is a really great way to use your scraps. You can impress all your friends with how you can put in a zipper. And I love the zipper edges because they look like part of the design. This is Judy from Fox Cities Quilt Company. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.